Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to just discuss briefly here is a customer that came to us or was looking for a help desk and the reasons they were looking, and then why they went ahead and went with the Everything Help Desk. It's actually Catawba Valley Medical Center out of North Carolina, and their IT staff became very overwhelmed with how to manage the mass amounts of phone calls that they were receiving every day, and along with the challenge of how to track and record those requests. What they wanted to do is they initially wanted to hire additional staff, but they didn't have any data to support that request. And so, of course, that request was denied from upper management. So they were left with the same amount of technicians, a lot of work to do, and very overwhelmed. So when they started looking for different solutions, she explains that they needed everyone to stop picking their favorite technicians. And that there were other help desk programs that were very, very technical and didn't meet their needs. They needed something that was very user-friendly, and at the end, their end user would actually use and go in and put a ticket in themselves versus calling into the help desk. They also needed to explain how the end user satisfaction would increase through their service level agreements. They explained that the support that they would need from management to make the implementation successful. So at the very end, they needed to make sure that their end users were trained in a way that they could justify needing those extra technicians. So with the improved technician productivity and reduced response time, after implementing the help desk, they had a 94% response time, meaning that all of their requests were handled within the first 5 minutes. They decreased their phone calls to the help desk because their users were actually putting in the tickets themselves, and they increased the end user satisfaction by maintaining the SLAs. They also were able to monitor the technician workloads, through the reporting features, and they were able to hire and justify why they needed to hire those extra technicians. So that's just one particular customer that we have that the steps that they went through in order to achieve their goals and in using the Everything Help Desk. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a demonstration of that. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to go through here, just to give you a little bit of background on it, like Amy said, we do have a cloud solution that we would host here. That would benefit you in the part that you don't have to maintain the servers, you don't have to maintain personnel in order to do that. We will do that stuff for you. As soon as we have a release or an upgrade or a patch or something to the system, we will go ahead and install that within 2 weeks of when it was put out, just making sure that everybody that is hosted is ready to go to that version and is able to do that in the time frame that we've selected. We also have an on-premise solution that, of course, you can go ahead and install at your location and run that information there. So either way, it's going to look and function the exact same way. Your technicians can access it from their phones, from the iPad, a tablet, anywhere that they can get an internet connection. So if they're out in the field, they can go to any computer, log in, and go ahead and look at their tickets. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and show you how you would set it up and how easy it is to set up and what the options that you have. So I'm going to log in as the admin user to show you those things. Now, it does integrate with Active Directory or Ldap, so you can integrate that, and then they can use their same credentials to go ahead and log in. You can also create users, or the users can come here and create themselves or create a login. And I should have showed you that right here, but right here there's a button that says I'm a new user. They can go through and register and set that up themselves. Now, if you are integrating with Ldap or you don't want your end users to do that, you can take this button off so that you're not integrated with your Active Directory or Ldap, and then they come in and create an additional login as well, so then you have duplicates. So now generally this is just the default for the admin. If you notice, we do have, there is a banner up here at the top where the admin can go in and put messages. This will go across to all end users, and that's just by simply typing it in right here. But that is what a message that everybody would see when they log in. Now the first things that you want to do is go ahead and create some groups. You might want to use this system in more than just your IT department. You might want to use it in your maintenance department, your human resources. The opportunities are endless, so you could use it in any aspect in your company. And each one can have their own individual group so that you can separate those. You might have, you know, certain technicians in human resources that don't need to overlap with your IT department. So you can set up 2 different groups. Now within the groups, we have you set up categories and category options. Now, of course, these are optional to you, but it helps to categorize the tickets. So here you can see under our tech services, we've set up hardware, and then these are all of the options that fall underneath hardware. Network, you know, you can set up as many as you want or as little as you want. And so your end user can select those categories or category options, so that you can route tickets to certain technicians. So like the customer that they didn't want people to keep continually picking their favorite technicians, you can solve that by routing certain tickets to certain technicians. So if you have somebody that strictly does hardware, then they'll only get those hardware tickets. If you have somebody that deals with network issues, then they will get those network issues. And the system sorts it for you, and so your end user isn't continually just selecting the person that they like to come out to their office or that they get along with, and so they want them to fix the problems. So that's what the categories and category options can do here. And then over here we have group roles. You're just going to set up your managers, technicians. Each group, when it's created, does have a ticket pool. So you can send everything to a ticket pool, and then you can have somebody in your own department go ahead and split those tickets up. We do have an email to ticket feature. And so if your end users, you're not wanting them to log in, they can just go ahead and send an email to an address that you've defined, and it will convert that into a ticket and send it to the ticket pool. And then that person or your help desk, whoever, can go in and make those assignments. So if you're not wanting your end users to actually log in and have to navigate the system, if you think that that's too much for them, they can just send an email to the address that you've specified, and it will convert to a ticket so that you as a technician or as a help desk coordinator can monitor all of that, and you'll still receive all of the reporting features and get the data that you need, but not having your end users have to go in and initiate that themselves. So over here, you would set up locations, just basically physical locations of different places that your technicians would need to go to. All of this is very easy. I mean, you just click add and type in the name. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then there's 2 things here, statuses and priorities. Now, statuses are different statuses of tickets that your technicians might change the status to when they're working on a ticket. Initially, a ticket will come in and say that it's been assigned to a technician, and then when the technician actually goes in and let's say that they have sent an email to the customer, and so they want to change it to awaiting customer feedback, they can go ahead and do that. Now, all of these are ones that you enter. I mean, we will put in just 5 static ones that you can use if you would like, but you can delete them, you can rename them, so they're all customizable. Like up here, we've added these 2, request approved and request denied. That was on an actual iPad, downloading an app for a certain school. If they requested the app and if it was denied or approved, that's what those statuses are used for. And then we also have some priorities here, which are pretty standard. You have a low, medium, high. You could have a critical, a system down, overdue, anything, excuse me, anything you want to put in here, you can. And then right here in this column, you'll notice it says text, gray, yellow, orange, red. It's just a color that will indicate for the technician when they log in. They might take a glance at where their tickets are at, and if you want them to see, you know, the ones in red or a high priority, then it just indicates that right on the home screen. When it says text here, it just means that it will display whatever is written. So if it says text on low, then it's going to say low in that column. Now there's one neat feature in the help desk, and it's called custom fields. And you'll understand this a little bit more when I actually log in as a user and you can see what these custom fields can do for you. Custom fields, the way that I like to put it, is just any additional information that you want on the ticket. Maybe your technicians are continually getting tickets on a certain printer or printers in general, and they're continually asking the same questions, like is it plugged in, is the printer offline, does it have paper, questions like that. You know, you can add those as custom fields here and apply them to certain categories or category options. There's a lot of flexibility here. Like if you notice this one, there's something in the location, the group, the category, and the category option. And what this is telling me is when those 4 items are selected, that's when this question will appear. But then we have one down here that says room number, and it's only applied right to the group itself. So anytime somebody submits a ticket to tech services, the ticket is going to ask them what room number are they at, so that when the technician goes out there, it's easier for them to locate. And like I said, as soon as I pull up a ticket, you'll see how this comes into play. And it's something that you can add at any time. You can take it away at any time. So it's not something that needs to be done right on the initial setup. Now, assignments, I talked about auto-routing them, and this is where you would do that. Just in creating an assignment, you have options here to route a ticket based on the group, based on the location, based on the category or category option. So if you're going to get very specific and you want all of the hardware printers to go to a certain person, you can do that. Or if you just want every ticket that comes out of my Denver location, I want to go to a certain technician, you can do that as well. So you have a lot of options here. Now over here in the system area, this is all things that you would do on setup. Integrating with Ldap, the mail is where you're going to configure, like I talked about, that email the ticket feature, that address, what information needs to be there. It does integrate with ZenWorks, and so you can go ahead and set that up here. So all of this stuff is just initial setup that you most likely aren't going to have to touch again. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and, well, let me touch on one more thing. That would be the permission model. The permission model, there's a lot of different things that you can do, a lot of things that you can limit or you can grant to end users or to technicians. And here's all of the options here. If you notice down here towards the bottom, there's a view and a change. So view category, change category. I mean, it's just showing here that you can take the category off of the ticket so that the end user doesn't even see it. So maybe you don't want your end users to put in that information, but you do want it there for your technicians so that they can categorize the tickets. It's just very customizable here, and you'll see that as soon as I pull up a ticket. So I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log in as a user. And so a user, if they're just coming to the help desk to enter a ticket, this is going to be their default screen. They're all going to receive this tab owned by me and this tab that says My Closed Tickets. It's just really easy for them to come in and see what tickets they have open. And then this tab is going to show any tickets that they've submitted prior that are now closed. So if they wanted to submit a new ticket, they can simply click New Ticket here. Now, if you only have one group, let's say you're just running your IT department and you don't have anyone else, then this field will just automatically default for you, and the end user isn't going to have to select it. But in this demonstration, since we have more than one, we're going to go ahead and select Text Services, and then the body of the ticket will appear. So here in the contact information, this is all what we've pulled over from Ldap and what this is the user that's actually logged in. And so all of that's going to default for them, so they're not going to have to enter that. They can skip over that. And then here is where you're, when I talked of the category and the category options. So if I do select hardware, and then I'm going to go ahead and select printer, Notice right here, this appeared. Is it plugged in? That's one of my custom fields. Room number is one of my custom fields, and when would be a good time to contact you is a custom field. And so you can add these or take these away. So then they would come and put their room number in and just fill out this information that I have asked because of what they have selected up here. Now down here in the description area, you have a subject, and this is what will come across to the technician when they receive the email stating that there has been a ticket submitted. And so the end user can type, they have to type something in here. They can also type in a note if they need to elaborate on it or type in more information. And then the CC and the BC here is just in case they want to copy maybe a manager or let them know that they submitted the ticket. Now they can attach a file if they need to, and they just simply do that by browsing. So this ticket, as soon as I put in a subject, I can just go ahead and submit that. So I'll submit it, and then it's going to give me a ticket number indicating that it's been saved. If you notice this assignment area, I can't click in here. It's grayed out. And this is because I'm auto-routing my ticket to this particular technician. It's not up to the end user to be able to select who they want that ticket to go to. Now there is flexibility there. If you do want your end users to go ahead and select that, you can set it up to where they can select the technician. And so that's just strictly customizable to your company as to how you want to do that. Now, what they can do here, if an end user has a question on a ticket, let's say, here's all of the tickets that they have entered so far. They can come and look at a ticket to see what the status is, to see, you know, maybe what the technician has said, any technician comments. See if I can find one with some technician comments in it. But they're all going to display here in the history comments. And so if I, as an end user, wanted to know what the status is, and then I'm going to just go ahead and save that. It's going to appear here in the comments. So any conversation that I have back and forth with the technician will be there. Now you're probably wondering on that email the ticket feature, if I am an end user who doesn't go into the system to put a ticket in, I just send an email. If the technician responds to that email, I can simply just respond right back, and all of those notes are still going to be there in the history comments. And so I'm still not having to actually log into the system to add those comments or see what's going on with that ticket. So from an end user perspective, that's about it. They do have options up here to do a search, do a filter, and to look at the knowledge base. In doing a search, they'll only be able to search their own personal tickets, anything that they have submitted or that has been submitted previously and has been closed out. They're not going to be able to see anything else. But they do have access to a knowledge base, which you can, as a technician, go in and create different knowledge base articles to maybe help those end users to where they might not call and put in a ticket because they can get their own self-help right here. Like, how do I set up my voicemail? So rather than calling into the help desk or submitting a ticket for somebody to help them do that, the steps are listed out right there. And there is some options here in setting up knowledge base articles as a technician. You can mark it private, and then therefore the only people that can see a private knowledge base article would be another technician or a manager. And so if there is information that you do want to store there, maybe for your technicians when they're out in the field, and just a quick information for them, then you can put that here in the knowledge base, mark it private, and your end users won't see that, but your technicians will. So maybe you want to just put a couple printer drivers out there that rather than going and searching the internet for, they can go right to the printer knowledge base article and install that driver from there. So that might be one example of how you would use this. So I'm going to just go ahead and log out as the end user and show you some things that you can do as a technician or a manager. Now there's one thing that I didn't cover in the setup, and that was assets. If you notice, there's an asset tab here. We do integrate with ZenWorks, but we also have an internal asset tracker. And so you can load in those assets, and then you can attach them to tickets so that you know if there's a certain asset that is continually having the same problems, the technician can go in and attach that. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. just in looking at a ticket. The technician is going to receive their tickets here. All of the information is filled out, and then there's a button over here that it says Asset, and they just simply would click on the magnifying glass. And then I'm just going to do a search to pull up anything. And so if this laptop is what the problem is or what is having the issue, they can go ahead and attach it. And then when I view that asset in the asset piece, then I'll see what tickets are associated with that. And so it's that simple for a technician to attach an asset here. So for a technician working a ticket, like I went in and I attached that asset. Let's say I needed to ask the customer a question or I updated something on the ticket. They can add a comment here. And then right here at the bottom, there's some options. They can notify the technician, they can notify the end user, or if there is an address in the BC or the CC field, they can notify them. Now normally, if this is the type of question that I'm going to ask as a technician, I don't need to receive notification on that, but of course I do want the end user to. So I'll just go ahead and save that with just the end user being selected, and now they'll receive an email with that information in that, now we can correspond back and forth. So here's all of the comments that I, as the technician, has left. And then, the end user can read all of that. So if they're logging in to see what the status of certain tickets are, they can see if the technician is waiting for some type of response from them. Maybe they missed it in their email. That's how an end user would see that here. Now, logged in as a manager or a technician, I do have the option to reassign a ticket. If you notice, it's assigned to the ticket pool right now, but I can go ahead and assign that out to anybody else. And so as a manager or a technician, you can do that. You can reassign tickets. You can actually move tickets from one group to another. So let's say a ticket was submitted and it really needed to go to a different group, maybe the facilities group, and for some reason they selected IT, then you can go ahead and transfer that ticket over by just reselecting the other group there. So if you notice, logged in as the technician here, I do have different options across the top. The end user only had 2 tabs, and I have 6 or 7 listed right here. This is something that's customizable to each and every technician or manager. They can set up these tabs. So I can just log in and say, okay, here's my open tickets. Here's a location, Bountiful Junior High. I can click right to that tab, and anytime that location has been selected on a ticket and submitted to me, then I can come here and see everything that's at that particular location. So location is a good one in order to separate them if technicians are going out and about, just so that they know what tickets are at what locations, and they can hopefully hit all of those at once. But you can also set it up. Let's say you have a technician that does hardware and network issues. They can separate them that way. Maybe in their workload, they deal with hardware on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then the network other days, I don't know. It's just easier to view the tickets that way. Now, as far as a filter or a search goes, these are saved filters. So as a technician, I can go in and I can save any filters that I might run quite often. Maybe it's something that I run once a week or every day, something like that. So you can save those here, or you can just simply, if it's something that you're running, you're just looking for something in particular, you can come here and do a search. So the things that you can do searches on would be any of the ticket fields, but also those custom fields that I talked about adding. We can also do searches on those custom fields as well. So all you would simply do is just select what you want to do your search on, and then go ahead and apply that, and then apply the filter, and it's going to pull everything up according to that search. So here's everything in that category. Now, as a technician from here, I can export that to a PDF, or I can export that to an Excel file if that's needed at the time, but I can also do a mass update. So if I wanted to, let's say I'm looking at my tickets, and I closed out 6 of these tickets today, rather than open them up one at a time, I can come in here and select all the ones that I've closed or that I need to put a comment on. And right here under Mass Update, these are the options. I can put in the same work time on those tickets. I can change the contact or the assignment. I can update the priority or the status. So these particular ones, I'm just going to go ahead and close that. The estimated completion date, I could put on a whole bunch of tickets, when I'm guessing that they're going to be done by, add a comment, and then I can group all of those tickets together. So if it's a whole bunch of tickets that are dealing with the same thing, I can group them together by doing that here. So I'll just simply save the changes, and it's just going to go ahead and close out all of those tickets that I had highlighted there. So that mass update feature is a nice feature for technicians to do, enter in all of the same data on a number of tickets all at once. And you can also delete tickets that way. If I need to delete some, let's say for some reason these were put in, they just need to be deleted, then I can go ahead and delete them like that. So both functioning the same way. Now that delete option is something in the permission model. If you don't want your technicians to be able to delete tickets, you want to leave that up to the managers, then you can take that away so that they can't do that. Okay, so reports, let me just show you what you can do here with reports. Now these are based on ticket filters. So basically you're going to create the filter so that you can tell the system, what information you want to pull out of it, and then you can create a report here. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at this one for Bountiful Junior High, just a location report. So the options that I have here is how to group it, and so this one is selected by technician, but I could group it by the location, category, priority status, or the asset. Now when it says regroup on the drill down, that is like if there's 10 technicians and I want to look at one technician in particular, I click on that, and then it's just asking how do you want that particular technician's tickets regrouped. And so right here it's by status, but the options are the same here that they were here. And then as far as ordering it, you can do it alphabetically or greatest number of tickets. The report format can be in HTML or PDF, and then here it's going to ask you if you want a graph and then what kind of graph do you want. Now you could just create that report and then as a manager run it periodically or when you need to. Or you could run it on a schedule. And this is a really neat feature for managers, or if you're in an education environment, principals at different schools that might not need to log in, to see what's going on at the location. You can just create a report so that it's automatically generated to them on a weekly basis, and then they get that report of the status of the IT tickets at their location at that time. And so we just set a recurrence pattern. This one's set to weekly, and this one's set to run every Monday. This is when it starts, and we've put in here to end never. But if you only wanted to run for 9 months out of the year, you could put an end date. And then this is the email message. So you're going to put who you want it to go to, the subject of the report, and then just the body. And this is what's going to be sent out according to the recurrence that you set. So if you notice this one right here where it says recurrence not set, this isn't one that's going to be automatically sent out to someone. This is just a report that I've created as a manager that I might need to run every so often. Now this one here, I can stop this, and you can see that this one isn't going to currently be sent out. Even though I do have the recurrence set, I just decided to stop it maybe for 3 months. When school's out for 3 months in the summer, I don't need that report to go there or something. And then I can come back in here and start that up again at any time. I think I just clicked it twice. So those are some different reporting features that you can do there. Now we also do have dashboards that are based on those reports as well. Now dashboards are something that you, as a manager, could log into the help desk, pull up that dashboard and just leave it up throughout the day, and it will refresh every 10 seconds or so. And so you're going to constantly be getting, what tickets are coming in, what tickets are being closed, who they're being assigned to, and that information, just what's going on in your help desk at the current time. And we also have this feature here called templates. And this is actually a really neat feature to the help desk. There are a few different types of templates that you can do. So I'm just going to go in and show you one here. Let's see what's here. So this particular one, password reset. Let's say that you're constantly getting these tickets of, I just need my password reset. You can create a template and even put this out to your end users so that the ticket is all filled out. And remember when I told you that the contact information, the location, that stuff defaults for whoever's logged in. So the end user basically is just going to select that template, and because the contact information defaults, they just are going to launch it, and it's going to generate that ticket to your help desk. Now, it can also be used in the fact that if you are running a help desk and people are calling in tickets, if you're constantly getting the same phone call, which, if the internet goes down at a location, they're all going to be calling. If that's something that you want to log, you can create a ticket template very quickly, and then all you have to do is put in the contact information. Or if it's one that happens all the time, like the password reset, you can just always have this in your ticket templates and then launch that. So all you're doing on the help desk side is putting in the contact information as well. And so that's one example of just a ticket template that is something really quick and easy for users and for technicians to be able to launch. Now, the other things that we have here in ticket templates, if you notice, this one has more than one ticket. Now, this one, it has some workflow set to it. So what we've done is, when you get a new hire at your location, there's a lot of steps that need to be followed. And so it could be, setting up the desk, and it also, could be something in HR, filling out new hire paperwork packets. So you can set these up to go from one group to another group, and then one technician to another technician. So here we've set up all of the tickets that need to be incorporated into the new hire template. And then when you come over here to this workflow tab, you just simply click to enable workflow, and now you're just dragging, like here's a printer ticket. You're just going to drag and drop it wherever it needs to go. And then what this is stating is when the user added to the directory ticket has been closed and the setup desk has been closed, then these 3 tickets will launch. And so it's just a way to have that workflow set without having to have somebody go in and actually launch all of those tickets. The system's going to do that for you. Now, the other option here that you can do inside ticket templates is go ahead and set up some recurrence. So this one right here, this database backup, if I want to set that to happen on a certain date or a certain frequency, I create the ticket like I did here. And on the recurrence, I can set that up to, okay, this is set to monthly. And so every month, this is going to go out to the technician that I specified, and they're going to receive that ticket and then work it. And again, as a manager or a technician, I don't need to go in and initiate that myself. The system is doing it for me. So I'm going to touch on the asset piece here. Here's all of the assets that we have went ahead and added. Now, remember I said you could attach these to a ticket. So when I'm looking at this particular asset, here's all of the information that pertains to that asset. But if I click over here to associated tickets, I can see all of the tickets that have been attached to that asset. So I can see everything that has been a problem up until this point. And so it's something that, when you're going to purchase new hardware, you can see, what has been the issues with that. Maybe there's a certain computer that the motherboard goes out all the time, and you don't want to order those the next time. This information would be helpful there. So, and then the last thing I'm going to touch on is something that we call the scheduler. It's just another way to make your life a lot easier, another way to automate things for you. So here in the scheduler, if you have, one that we do here is this resolved to closed down here at the bottom. So we'll switch a ticket to a resolved status, and then this scheduled item will go out and say, okay, here's the status, it's resolved. Within 10 days from that modified date, we want to just go ahead and close that ticket out unless a technician has gone in and changed something on the ticket to make the modified date different. We're just going to automatically close it. So we're going to change the status, and we're going to send this email as well to the end user and as well as the technician so that they know the ticket has been closed out. And so the system will automatically close it for us. Now we have another one here, this 1 hour first response. That was something that we kind of talked about in the in the case study at the beginning. But this is saying that when something comes in and an assign not updated, 1 hour later, we would like it to send an email to whoever it was assigned to saying, okay, you didn't get to this yet and you need to do that. And so it doesn't have to have anything to do with your end user if you don't want it to. You can set these up so that if you have tickets that are coming in and within 23 hours, let's say you have an SLA that all tickets need to be looked at within a 24-hour time frame. At 23 hours, you can send out that email to the technician reminding them that that ticket is out there, or any other interval that you would like to set it up in. I mean, you can also set it up here to where that email will repeat. So if you have a technician that is not responding to those, it'll send out an email every 10 minutes until they actually do go in and respond to that. So the scheduler has a lot of nice features here of changing statuses, changing priorities, or simply just sending out emails for you so that you're not constantly in the help desk trying to manipulate all of that and keeping your end users happy and satisfied. So I think that that's about it. I think I've covered a lot of that, a lot of what the help desk can do for you. If you have any questions, I think Amy said you could go ahead and put them into the chat or ask, and I can answer those for you. But for now, I'm just going to turn the time back over to Amy.